Let's stop the killing. Let's end it. End it now.
Tonight, the Mid-Missouri community honors the victims of the Israel-Hamas war, how the conflict hits close to home for some.
He really saw people for who they were, like the good in everybody.
And after the death of a chef who helped open and run Casa Maria's in Columbia, hear what his daughters hope the community knows about their dad.
I just shared with my colleagues that I'm withdrawing my name as a candidate for the Speaker designee.
U.S. Republicans are back at square one in the search for a new House Speaker. This is KMU8 News at 10.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU8 News starts now.
The war between Israel and Hamas has reached a grim milestone with the death toll surpassing 2,500 people. Good evening, everyone. I'm Evie Allen. Thanks so much for joining us. We have team coverage tonight of how the Columbia community is reacting. KMU8's Chelsea Peter was at a vigil on MU's campus for Palestine, and KMU8's Hunter Walterman was at a prayer vigil for Israelis in South Columbia. But first, here's an update on the latest developments coming out of Israel and Gaza. Israel continues its airstrike campaign against Gaza as the war wraps up its sixth day. 1,300 Israelis have been killed, with more than 3,000 injured. In Gaza, 1,500 people have been killed, with more than 6,000 injured. The number of Americans killed in the conflict is up to 27. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in Israel today to meet with regional leaders. The White House says it will start evacuating Americans from Israel starting tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Israeli military says it's preparing for a potential ground assault on Gaza. In an interview with NBC News, Lester Holt asked Secretary Blinken what assurance he can give to the families of people who are missing.
First, Lester, you know this from talking to some of these families, no one can fully put themselves in their shoes. No one can know what this experience is like. We are doing everything we can to secure the freedom of those who've been taken hostage.
Tomorrow, Blinken is scheduled to meet with the Palestinian president. Back here in mid-Missouri, students and local leaders joined to express their grief and support for the families impacted by the Israel-Hamas war. KMU8's Chelsea Peter was at one vigil which led to a peaceful protest walk. She joins us now from our downtown newsroom with reaction. Chelsea.
Mizzou Students for Justice in Palestine joined together at Speaker Circle for a vigil. The organization came together to spread awareness about the Israel-Hamas conflict and to mourn all civilians' lives lost so far.
We need to be able to remove the blindfold, remove this tunnel vision, and realize that atrocities and civilian killings are happening on both sides, and that none of it should be encouraged.
The organization plans to raise awareness on social media about America's involvement in the war, and they plan to continue hosting events coming soon. In the downtown newsroom, I'm Chelsea Peter, KMU8 News.
All right, thank you, Chelsea. Across town, Columbia's Jewish community embraced and grieved together. KMU8's Hunter Walterman was there, and he joins us now from our newsroom after speaking with one rabbi who says he wants to send a very clear message.
The Evie Rabbi Matt Derenbacher says with all the division on social media, a prayer vigil he organized tonight was a place for peace. It was held at Congregation Beth Shalom, Columbia's only synagogue. Dozens of people, some Jewish and some not, gathered as the sun went down. Derenbacher says the war in Israel feels painfully close. One member of the congregation lost his daughter and son-in-law in the attack. Even though Israel and Hamas are fighting, Derenbacher says pain doesn't recognize borders.
Hold space for one another. Check in on your Jewish friends, check in on your Muslim friends, anyone who may have some sort of attachment to the conflict and the horrific events that are happening right now.
Despite praying for peace, the congregation is also staying vigilant. CPD officers were at the vigil for security reasons. Live in the newsroom, Hunter Walterman, KOMU8 News.
All right, thank you, Hunter. Well, we will continue to follow the Israel-Hamas war for the latest developments. Just head over to KOMU.com or watch KOMU8 News in the mornings and evenings.
We still have breezy conditions tonight. Those are going to continue. Winds right now out of the southeast at about 15 miles per hour. You can see some pockets of some stronger winds out to the west. That's supplying lots of warm air. Temperatures right now only a few degrees lower than our average high for this time of the year. 67 Columbia, 69 Jefferson City, Mexico also at 69, and Moberly at 70 degrees. Some showers and storms up in Nebraska, stretching down into northwest Missouri. These are going to actually continue to develop and move our way late tonight, but the showers don't move in until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when those chances go up. A few rumbles of thunder. Also, as you head out the door, if you're lucky enough to get under a downpour, you could see some quick, heavy rain. Low 60s tonight, low 70s tomorrow. Much cooler this weekend. We're tracking the weekend coming up.
Well, tonight we're learning more about the husband of Crystal Umphris. She's the woman charged in the arson of a Southeast Missouri restaurant. The couple started Casa Maria's Mexican Cantina in Columbia in 2020. KMU8's Emily Spain sat down with family members to learn more in this first interview.
Family members of Jesus Mendoza told me he went by Tino, and it was a dream of his to open his own restaurant. Before you hear from his family, here's a quick timeline of the past few months. According to the Boone County Recorder's Office, Crystal Umphris and Mendoza were issued a marriage license on July 1st of this year. 9 days later, police say someone set fire to Lupita's restaurant in Kennett, Missouri on July 10th. Then, in late September, prosecutors charged Umphris and another man with second-degree arson for that fire. 4 days later, Mendoza got critically injured in a car crash on Stadium. He later died from his injuries on October 1st. This week, I talked with two of his daughters about their dad. They told me about his passion for cooking and love for his family, and how he met Crystal Umphris.
Although his life was cut short, he did so much in those 48 years.
Haiti Gonzalez and Citlali Mendoza tell me their dad's story is full of culture and tradition.
Was your dad always a good cook?
Oh, God, yes.
Yes, I think he got it from my grandma because she's like the best cook in our family.
They say Jesus Mendoza immigrated from Mexico at the age of 16 and got his start in the restaurant business as a dishwasher in Kentucky.
He also was an amazing person. And I know everybody says that about their family members, but he really saw people for who they were, like the good in everybody.
They say he went on to help friends open Mexican restaurants in Missouri, including Las Margaritas in Columbia. And finally, Casa Maria's, named after his mom, Maria.
His biggest dream ever was to open up his own successful restaurant. He put a lot into it, his whole life savings into that restaurant.
Jesus Mendoza died after a late-night crash on Stadium Boulevard in Columbia. We are still waiting for Columbia police to complete the crash report. According to the department, it's still under investigation. CPD has reported Mendoza was driving a GMC that crossed into the opposite lane of traffic on Stadium, hitting another car head-on. The other driver, John Searle, also died. The girls told me they've tried to reach out to his family.
I would absolutely tell him that I'm sorry that we know what it's like to lose a loved one, especially under the circumstances very quickly. Send them my condolences.
4 days before the crash, prosecutors charged Mendoza's wife with arson. Court documents claim Crystal Umphris paid to have Lupita's restaurant in Southeast Missouri set on fire. Mendoza's daughters live there and say that restaurant belongs to their uncle.
What was your reaction when you learned about the charges in that case?
I wasn't surprised, honestly.
We kind of were expecting that.
How did your dad meet Crystal?
She would do marketing for Las Margaritas, so that she would be at the restaurant, and I guess they would just bump into each other.
The couple opened Casa Maria's together in June 2020. They were legally married 3 years later. His daughters didn't want to speak further on their dad's relationship with Umphris.
I do want to add that we do feel like we can't speak too much on it just because we feel threatened. Just with the fire, for example, that's enough to be, scared. And we're just trying to protect our family and not trying to speak out too much on her.
Instead, his daughters are focused on honoring their dad's legacy and remembering their time together.
We'd always go like vacationing every summer, and we made it like a tradition. So now that he's gone, we're still gonna do that just in honor of him.
The family held his visitation on Monday and plan to bury him in his hometown in Mexico next week. 64-year-old John Searle also died in the crash on Stadium. According to his online obituary, he worked for MBS Textbook Exchange in Columbia for 38 years. He's survived by his sister, who lives in Branson. Back to you.
We do want to note that Mendoza was not listed as an owner on the business license for Casa Maria. The only name listed is Umphris. This week, she bonded out of jail for the arson charge. KMU8 reached out to her lawyer for comment on the charge, her husband's death, and the future of Casa Maria's. We have not heard back yet. Well, U.S. House Republicans are back where they started, the latest in the search for a new Speaker of the House. And the verdict handed down to 2 Colorado police officers accused of killing an unarmed black man.
Temperatures made it to the upper 70s today. Lows also well above average for this time of the year. We still need that rain. The latest drought monitors dry in central Missouri. Not much of a surprise there. We'll talk about the rain for tomorrow coming up.
Louisiana Representative Steve Scalise ended his bid for U.S. House Speaker today. The House GOP conference met for more than 2 hours. CNN reports Scalise met with House members opposed his candidacy. That group has grown to 20, making it impossible for Scalise to receive the majority of House votes needed to become Speaker.
If you look at over the last few weeks, if you look at where our conference is, there's still work to be done. Our conference still has to come together.
It's still not clear when a vote on the floor for Speaker may take place. A jury delivered verdicts for the Colorado police officers who arrested Elijah McClain. He's the unarmed 23-year-old black man who died after police subdued him and paramedics injected him with ketamine in 2019. Randy Rodema was found guilty of criminally negligent homicide and assault. Meanwhile, the second officer, Jason Rosenblatt, who was fired by his police department in 2020, was acquitted of all charges against him. And that included reckless manslaughter and assault. Back here in mid-Missouri, the woman charged with aiding in a 2019 murder in Callaway County pleaded guilty today to hindering the prosecution of a felony. Emily Ricketts and her partner fled to Mexico after Ruben Charles Cabrera allegedly shot and killed a man near Highway 40. Court filings show Ricketts provided Charles Cabrera with transportation and money after the crime. Her sentencing date is set for December 5th. Police are still searching for Charles Cabrera. A trailer designed to help provide free showers to the community is getting a trial run. The city of Columbia spent about $73,000 on the trailer. The idea was for it to be used during emergencies and for people experiencing homelessness. The trailer has 3 shower stalls, sinks, and toilets with 7 minutes of hot water.
The latest drought monitor released today, and it shows expanding drought conditions once again across the state. All of mid-Missouri remains in a drought. It includes rainfall up to 7 a.m. Tuesday. Of course, we did get some rain a little bit later on Wednesday, but not enough that it makes a difference in the drought overall. So we still need more rain. We do have some coming tomorrow, but ultimately nothing drought busting coming our way anytime soon because our dry pattern overall is going to be continuing. Winds pretty breezy today. They're going to be pretty windy again tomorrow. Winds gusting up to 35 miles per hour. So that's where we were today. That's where we are tomorrow. It's where we are on Saturday. It's going to be hold on to your hat weather. Heading into the end of the weekend, though, we're going to be cooler and we're going to see some calmer winds. That's because this cold front is going to be moving through. That's the dynamic force that brings us the cooler weather and also the chance for some rain tomorrow morning. Here's precipcast at midnight. We're still pretty dry. Rain chances increasing into the morning hours. A few heavy downpours possible if you manage to get under a thunderstorm. You're one of the lucky ones, and you could see a quick ½ inch of rain. A lot of us won't get that, but the showers do look a little more widespread than what we saw Wednesday. This starts to push off to the east, still some lingering activity around mid-morning, but it's a lot lighter. Then it gets out of here. We'll watch for a quick rebound of a few more storms in the afternoon. These will race off to the east. They could produce some small hail or a strong wind gust or two. I think overall the severe threat is pretty low. Then the cloud cover filters back in on Saturday. In fact, I think Saturday could be cloudy and drizzly, not necessarily great signs for the partial solar eclipse that we're going to be seeing. You'll definitely notice it getting dark around midday. I explain the science behind what's happening and how to build an eclipse viewer in the KOMU8 First Alert Weather app. In terms of rainfall totals, it's all pretty quiet, moving off to the east. Again, if you get under a thunderstorm, you could easily see a ½ inch. The rest of us probably looking closer to a ¼ of an inch of rain. I'm in for Kesley tomorrow, and that means I'll be going to Friday Night Fever with Ben Arnett, Rockbridge at Hickman. Temperatures in the low 60s at 7 p.m. By 9 o'clock, we're in the upper 50s. And for this weekend, we're staying cool. Notice that end of game temperature still warmer than where we're going to be heading through a large chunk of the weekend. Cloudy, drizzly, windy on Saturday. Still pretty cloudy on Sunday, but not seeing as much in terms of the wind. In terms of the longer range forecast, as we kind of get closer and closer to the end of the month, I think we're still going to favor closer to the above average temperatures, but the bigger highlight here, no big pattern shift in terms of rain chances. So expect our dry pattern and drought to continue for the time being. 61 is our temperature for tonight, 71 tomorrow, lingering showers in the morning, winds gusting up to 35 miles per hour, 56 on Saturday with cloudy skies, mostly cloudy on Sunday, upper 50s on Monday. Tuesday, we're in the 60s, back into the middle to upper 60s heading into Wednesday, Thursday. Lots of cloud covers staying with us.
All right, thank you, Matt. Well, buying a lottery ticket paid off for one person in California. We'll tell you about the historic Powerball jackpot. And speaking of winnings, here are your lottery numbers tonight. Good luck. William Woods University will be marching to the beat of their own drums come next fall. The university announced its launch of the school's first ever marching band. The band will play for the university's brand new football team in the fall of 2024. They'll serve as a concert and pep band during other parts of the school year. The university choir director who's assisting with recruiting says the addition will allow more students to be involved on campus. Students who are interested in playing for the band have the opportunity to earn scholarships up to $5,000. A very lucky person in California has won the Powerball jackpot worth $1.76 billion. Only one ticket in the entire nation matched last night's winning numbers. It was the second largest Powerball jackpot and second largest U.S. lottery jackpot ever won. Lottery winnings are not taxed by California, so the winner hasn't come forward yet to claim their prize.
Chiefs looking to extend their dominance over the Broncos, and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift looking to continue their dominance over popular culture. We've got the highlights from Arrowhead next.
We're going to start tomorrow with temperatures right around 60 degrees. We'll get to about 70 in the afternoon. Not a whole lot of change through the day in terms of temperature until we get to the evening. Then that cooler air moves in. Rain chances highest in the morning and midday hours. Then we'll get a lot drier in the afternoon. The wind's going to be blowing at about 35 miles per hour for those peak gusts. So it is going to be on the breezy side. Much cooler this weekend. Saturday looks cloudy, windy, drizzly. Oh, well, a solar eclipse is happening.
Are you excited about being out there with Ben tomorrow night?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
What's better than the Providence Bowl?
I enjoy the company of Ben Arnett, so I will be happy to be there.
And I enjoy the company of both of you.
And I enjoy the company of all of you for Friday Night Fever tomorrow night.
That's right.